Hello everyone!
Welcome to our podcast hosted by Arti, Angelica, Rayhan, and Arya. Today we're going to be talking about the relationship between mental health and social media. We also have a guest called Gadi.
Hey! Give it up for Gadi! Ooh, welcome Gadi. How are you feeling?
Feeling great, feeling wondrous that you all invited me to this podcast.
Glad to have you here.
Would love to have in-depth discussions about mental health with this podcast, so glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, let's get right into it, Arti.
So the first question is, how would you define mental health, guys?
So, how should we go first? Should we do it like clockwise, or how about you? Wait, you answer last, and Gadi answers first. Itu. Jadi gini.
Sure.
Okay, so what is the question? Arti, please read the question.
Okay, Gadi, how would you define mental health?
To me, mental health is... It's not a tangible thing, of course, but to me, it's something that really is like an enhancement to one's life. It's like a pill you take. It's like a supplement. Whenever you take lunch, it's like the vitamin C of your life. So mental health, to me, is, again, very abstract. I can't pinpoint it to an exact definition, but it's something that is just very mystical, in my opinion. It's very wondrous. It's the thing that fuels your car. The car, as in ourselves. I feel like that's the analogy that I would compare that to.
Thank you for your answer, Gadi. Angelica, how would you define mental
I
health?
feel like mental health has been very neglected, especially in our country. You know, people say that you have to take care of your body and you have to eat well, but people don't really say that you have to take care of your mental health, because mental health is also a part of our body that we have to take care of, even though we
Facts.
can't really, again, what Gadi said, even though it's very, is it tangible?
Is it not tangible?
It's not tangible, but it's also plays a big part in our daily life.
Facts. Nice answer. Arya, what do you think, or how would you define mental health?
So mental health refers to a state of emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It encompasses how individuals think, feel, and cope with the challenges of like academic life, relationship, and personal development. And good mental health involves managing stress, anxiety, and other emotions effectively, while seeking support and practicing self-care to maintain a balanced and healthy mindset.
And how would you personally define mental health?
The things that I said, like
mental health, like what comes into your mind?
Mental health.
Like it's undoubtedly something very important, is it? Yeah. So like personally for you, like what is mental health
Mental
about?
health. I think that mental health is very important. You need to maintain it.
True.
I think like
Don't cry.
Okay, to myself, how do I define mental health? I'm sorry for the technical difficulties back there. Very unprofessional behavior, in my opinion. But I'm just kidding. How would I define mental health? Well, I agree with Angelica and Gadi. They made some very important points. Tapi intinya, it's like we're encouraged to eat healthy and take care of our bodies, but I personally think that mental health is as important. That's why I say I agree with what you said. Like we're encouraged to take care of our body and like our physical health, but I also think that, and I agree with that, our mental health is as important, if not more important, in my opinion. Because, for example, like you could have a guy that lost all his limbs or is bound to a wheelchair, but he's the happiest man alive, compared to like a guy that's super healthy but he's being an ungrateful little shit. and he's suicidal or whatever, and like money doesn't make him happy and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I think about it. Arti,
Hmm.
how would you define mental health?
Okay, I'm gonna keep my answer very simple. I agree with everyone that's shared their opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people know and aware of the fact that you have to take care of your mental health, and it's as important as your physical health. And I'm sure every individual has gone through some issues with
Facts.
mental health. That's why we have our guest here, Gadi, who's gonna share his experience on battling with mental health issues.
Oh no. I mean, oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh shit. So, Gadi, how has social media affected your mental health?
Now, interestingly, social media has affected me in both positive and negative lights. In terms of the negatives, of course, the cliches of social media, like, oh, we compare everyone else to ourselves, we compare their best to our worst. Again, that's something common for everyone in social media. But I feel like I would also like to acknowledge the positives of social media, because again, by knowing these people's bests and being able to see that, oh, they also have their off days, so I am also able to be that version, the best version of myself through social media, because I am able to see the best versions of other people. So if they can do it, I can do it. And that's essentially how I take social media as the sort of supplement to my own mental health, because I see the people I look up to in social media, and I don't take it as a comparison. I take it as something I can strive for. So that's an important way, in my opinion, to really make.
Yeah, I think I agree with Gadi, but I also like to acknowledge the positive side of social media, because even though it has created a very toxic environment for a lot of people, unfortunately, but I think because of social media, the awareness of mental health can be acknowledged as well, and that due to social media, a lot of people have created a safe space for people out there who is suffering the same thing with mental health, and like they can freely spoke up about their problem, and like opened up to actually and eventually find themselves to feel better because of social media. So yeah, I think it has both its down and upside to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I would like to add like a very simple thing. Like, one of the positive sides about social media is like, I'm sure you guys probably all experienced it. Like, somebody sent you a funny video, and like up until the point that you start crying, or ngakak as we call it, which sometimes even just like because of one video has made my whole day while I was having a bad day. So that's one of the things I recognize about the positive things of social media.
So our next topic is doom scrolling, and I'm sure Rehan knows a lot about this. Could you please enlighten us about this?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
This is actually something that I also suffer with the most these days, especially now that we're having last class and we're on our final terms, and we spend most of our days at home, right? And then I found myself with nothing to do, and I just lay in bed and doom scroll my time.
Yeah, like, I know exactly what you mean, because it's so convenient, and like we have our phones with us at all times, and it's just become a habit of our fingers to just tap the Instagram logo, or tap the Snapchat logo.
People actually.
From this moment, Angelica's looking for something she researched, so in the meantime I'll be giving my answer. So what I was saying is it's become very habitual to just press the Instagram logo or the Snapchat logo, and especially in my experience, and maybe in our experience, I personally don't have TikTok, but for example with Instagram or TikTok, it's so easy to just get caught up in the reels or the For You page because the content that is on there, it constantly gets refreshed, and it's basically just never ending. So actually what I did is I installed like a timer on my Instagram thing, and what that basically does is every time I press the Instagram logo without any reason at all, or just out of habit, there's like a timer that says take a deep breath, and for 30 seconds there's like some kind of filler that goes up and down, and after 30 seconds but I can open Instagram. So there's a little bit of friction between my desire for opening Instagram, and I believe that helped me quite a lot, which unfortunately resulted in a lot of unopened DMs, so I'm sorry for that. But in terms of like my mental health, because I've been doom scrolling like sometimes maybe for like 4 hours
You
at a
know
time.
why
I'm sorry, I'm not finished. I've been doom scrolling for like, I could be doom scrolling for like 4 hours or 3 hours at a time, so that really has helped me. I'm sorry, do you want to answer?
You know, the reason why people are actually so addicted to doom scrolling is because the action of doom scrolling creates a dopamine in your brain. People actually research on that, and that the fact that doom scrolling creates dopamine in your brain, people are more dependent to that dopamine, so they find anything else is boring and they prefer to just scroll along all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do personally agree as well. Because I feel like with doom scrolling, I personally, this is the first time I've heard of the term. I think what I personally think would be more in line with what I understand of it is mindless scrolling. Because again, you're just adding dopamine with every swipe. Dopamine just adds up. So
Wait, sorry to interrupt you, but do you,
He's
do
not
you
finished
see
yet.
doom scrolling and mindlessly scrolling as the same thing?
I feel like it's
I
the same.
apologize.
yeah, I feel like in my understanding it's the same thing, unless it's different, and someone else may correct me on that. But again, yeah, it's in my understanding pretty much the same thing.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, Gadi. I'm wondering if Arya, do you have any answer, or do you have any thoughts about doom scrolling and just scrolling mindlessly or without any intention?
No, I don't think I have any answers since you guys already answered, and yeah, I don't have any comment on it.
Okay. Nice to hear. Like, Arti, you don't got anything to add on that?
I do agree with what everyone said, and when you get too much into scrolling on social media, you forget about a lot of things outside social media, such as college work or maybe family life, love life, and you become unproductive at the end of the day. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, nice. So I
Should
think
we
we
move
can
on?
move on to the next
Mhm.
question.
So our next topic is, do you think mental health is taken seriously in Indonesia?
Ooh,
Not at all.
okay. If,
Interesting.
let's repeat the question. Do you think mental health is taken serious in Indonesia? Gadi, your answer, please.
Do you think it's I feel like it's again, it's a hard question to answer, but in my opinion, for the most
it's
part,
not that hard. I don't
It
think
is
it's not
hard.
that hard.
Really?
Okay.
it's pretty hard for me, see, because again, I grew up in a family where mental health is quite an important aspect, because part of my family members were raised in a psychology and philosophy background. So
Nice.
it depends on each person's background as well, but and how they perceive mental illness. But I think so far it's progressing pretty well, in my opinion. I think, like what Angelica said, it just shows how different people perceive mental health, and I don't think it's just an Indonesian problem. It's worldwide, universal, in my opinion. So that would be, I think, my 2 cents on it.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Arti wanted to add something to that?
I think as much as social media has negative impacts on us, as we talked about, it also helps you be more informed about the topic of mental health. And I feel like nowadays people share tips and solutions on how to deal with the issues that people go through with their mental health. So not only it's negative on you, but if you know how to use social media platforms properly, you know how to find solutions, and you can help each other maybe online and share stories about the journey of your battling with mental health. Yeah.
I see. You guys got anything to add to that?
I think for that question, I could simply say that. What was the question again?
The question was, do you
Oh, yeah.
think mental health is taken seriously in
I feel like-
Indonesia?
These days, with the help of social media, yes, but back then, a lot of people grew up with generational trauma, and those people were told that if you speak up and if you opened up, you were considered weak, and even sometimes people that reach out for help and going, even as simple as going to a therapist, that was very, very common in overseas. It's still considered as if you are not mentally ill but crazy.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people still have that perspective that mental health is just something that is for weak people, and you're just not strong enough, and that if you ask for help, then you're just a crazy person.
We're just craving for attention.
Yeah.
I see. Arya, you got anything to add to that? Arya, we would like your input on the question. Do you think mental health is taken seriously in Indonesia?
Me personally, I don't think so, since kayak most people here are really ignorant about kayak mental health, and kayak also kayak most people really, what is it in English? Tunggu.
Apa-apa, I'll help you translate.
Bahasa Indo aja nggak apa-apa.
What?
Bahasa Indo nggak apa-apa.
What was the word?
What do you want to say?
Gini ya. I hope ini siapa Miss Hersinta kan? I hope you understand, Miss. Jadi kebanyakan orang di sini tuh kayak lebih tertutup, apalagi kayak
Closed off.
dan juga lebih takut untuk open up karena mereka kayak takut dinilai lemah
Judge.
dan apa gitu. I think jawabanku udah ada di Angelica's answer atau Gadis answer. Jadi kayak gitu, kayak people here kayak masih ignorance about mental health, kayak in my opinion. Dan yeah, that's it, yes.
Yeah, and I would like to kind of like go off the script a little bit. Like I have a little question. Like, what do you guys think of like stigmas? Like, I guess when it comes to us guys, like when it comes to mental health, like, oh, man up, or when it comes to not only Indonesian but like the stereotypical Asian parents, kayak misalkan if you get bad grades or you follow a degree that you don't want, like misalkan your dad or your mom is a doctor and they expect you, oh, you should become a doctor or you should become a lawyer, while you actually want to be a painter or you want to become an artist. Like, what do you guys think? Is that taken seriously in Indonesia?
I feel like for the stigma about like man up and like stop being so weak, if it weren't for social media, it's the sign of a toxic masculinity. And like, if it weren't for social media, people would have ignored that. Don't you think people would have ignored that if it weren't? If I noticed, I realized that things about like don't be such a baby and like man up, it's a part of toxic masculinity for people to suppress their emotion as a man, because as a man you're supposed to cry or you're supposed to be weak. And I grew up, I always thought about that, and until social media educated me about that, man actually can open up and it's actually normal because they're also a human being.
Yeah, to an extent I agree to that. Like to man up and like to go through your emotions. I mean, to a certain extent I agree that, you know, we can just cry and bitch about anything, like make excuses. Like sometimes you just have to push through. But I think it's also very important for like you mentioned, you mentioned toxic masculinity, that there's a stigma on men as well. Like we should be able to talk about our emotions and it should not be perceived as weak, in my opinion. Like Arti, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think as time passes by, a lot of parents are more aware that their kids should, no matter the gender, they could express themselves however they want to be. And I think social media really helps on that, because social media is a form of social media can help you see more people with diversities, with different genders, different sexualities, and I think that helps with the internet users that are on it to be
like more aware.
And more educated on the fact that everyone is equal and everyone is allowed to express themselves however they are, including crying. So, something as simple as crying. Yeah.
I see. Next question.
Next question. Do you think mental health care is accessible in Indonesia?
Gadi, kick it off.
In my opinion, yeah, actually. With the advent of Halodoc and all other sort of online doctors, it's pretty common to see like ads for psychologists pretty much everywhere, and especially mainland Jakarta and anywhere where cities are really packed. So I feel like for the most part, mental health and mental care access is pretty accessible, in my opinion, unless anyone else would like to disagree on that.
Anyone? Any input?
Me personally, especially recently, I realized that a lot of people have taken mental health more seriously, and not a lot of people I know take psychology as their degree, which is a sign of,
accessibility to mental health.
Yeah, and more awareness on that topic. And I've also personally gone to a therapist to help with my mental health, and it actually helped me, and it was pretty accessible by me and my family to find that person that helped me. So I think going for therapy is one of the solutions that personally helped me, and I heard a lot of people also took that solution to help with that battles with mental health. So what do you guys think are other ways to solve these issues?
Gadi?
I do have to agree with Rehan here. Like, sometimes you do have to push through, like, no matter what. Especially in my case, it's very cut and dry in solving mental health issues. Finding what makes you happy, it's gonna be a hard journey, but it's gonna help in the long run. And pushing through and really knowing what makes you happy is definitely gonna help alleviate some of the pain that comes with mental illnesses. So again, pushing through and knowing what makes you happy and trying to keep on finding that is, for me, the best way to solve this particular issue.
Thank you, Gadi. Moving on to Angelica.
I think definitely you have to know that more people cares about you than you think, and it's okay to open up and reach out to people if you're struggling with your mental health, because as I said, more people actually cares about you than you think, and you don't have to be afraid to be so judged, and you don't have to be afraid to feel judged or feel ashamed about how you feel, because it's a normal thing, because we're just a human being, and we made mistake, and yeah. So anything else?
Thank you, Angelica.
Okay.
Like
Arya, your last input?
Like Angelica said, don't be afraid to get judged. You're also a human being. Be open to everyone, to anyone. If you need help, go find someone who you trust, and don't don't pendam. What is it in English?
Repress your feeling.
Ya, jangan pendam
Because-
your feeling, karena nanti kalau kelamaan dipendam terus nanti jadi masalah hidup. And
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all that we have for today. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening.
Thank you to our guest, Gadi.
Thank you, Gadi, for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Until the next one, or not.